Yes, almost all the time
And now they
using.
resetted even the usage, right? As the codex, the new version of the
Yeah.
OpenAI was released. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, yesterday I was switching around roles because, I set up an arrangement when I've got a lot of these agents working in Herder, and they're orchestrating, overseeing, judging, all this. And yesterday I was trying to figure out which is most economical and productive. So I was switching them around, and they were running over all night. Very, very strange experience.
All right. How's it going, guys?
Hectic. I'm beginning to be happy that they're going to switch off Fable in a couple of days so I can get some rest.
Yeah, Nick, can you grab my copy over there on the floor?
Post-Fable fatigue, Piotr.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I actually on Saturday when I was in the middle of that first stretch, middle of what it was originally forecasted to be available, I took a break, and went windsurfing, but I had it working for me, and I was just looking, on a tablet when I was coming off the water to see what it was doing. And, frankly, that is really sick. This is, and it was doing smart work. I told it to rethink and revise my business strategy. So, this is no peanuts. Weird, really weird. Yeah, I keep coming back to that rather simple statement that Fable is really completely different from the other ones. For work that you do, which is sort of well defined, like coding or something, the Opus models and Sonnet, they're fine, but none of them feel like talking to a human, and a fairly smart one at that. It's. Hmm.
Mm.
all right. So what, Rob, what's the plan? What's the plan today?
Well, um, we've got a bunch of events that are coming up. Where are we? Are we top of the hour yet?
No, we got
In 2 minutes.
We don't have any scheduled lightning talks for today, so we've got there's an enormous amount of projects and things that are going on. So we'll do we can cover the events that are upcoming: Silicon Valley, the AI Fall Retreat, and then you've got some stuff that you wanted to show, of course, Reuven. Dragan, you've always got little things under the hood, I'm sure.
If I stay.
Yep. So we got a little bit of flexibility today, Reuven.
Okay. Well, I could show people the my status line update if that's exciting. That's a new update that I'm pushing out later today. The result of our little cottage weekend here.
Yeah,
and
it's tremendous for feedback, for input, for all kinds of reasons.
it's not quite done, but close enough. Enough to demo. So the weather's so nice today. I need to be doing these outdoor more often. And by the way, beside me, I got Ofer, I got Martin, and Nick, and I think I see where'd you go, Rob?
I'm just right around the corner.
I can hear you somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to his bunkhouse.
So
Where are you guys?
we're in Lake Huron in Ontario. Yeah.
So this is still the extended national holiday?
No, this is our Cognitum corporate retreat, if you will. And we're doing some planning, and it's better just to get everyone in one place. And after this, I think I'm gonna take Martin out to surf the back of the boat. So that should be fun. Yeah.
Get the young guy up on some skis. Yeah.
Top of the hour, guys.
All right, top of the hour. Where are we at here? It's the 10th of July. and we're live on site from Lake Huron in Ontario. With the you guys have the camera over there too. Yeah, we've been basically hanging out here for the last few days, and so if some of you guys might have tuned in for the Vibecast yesterday, that was an exciting one. Yeah, it's been a great week. I guess the big news this week was the release yesterday of the 4.6 models from OpenAI. It's actually pretty. I've been
5.6.
5.6, 5.6. Too many numbers.
5.6.
5.6.
We're
4.6
5 from Grok.
4.6 is Opus, and yeah, you guys know what I mean. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think Fable sucks. Pretty clearly sucks. But I like the 5.6 or whatever number the heck it is. It's, and if you're using Codex, it's a solid release. And there's no draw. It doesn't continually go back to 4.8 when you're not looking, which the whole de-escalation approach that Anthropic has released is just garbage. Actually, there was an announcement that I saw also just while I'm on it, from the guys at OpenAI. Was it Wednesday, that basically said SWE and related models are basically garbage, which I've been saying for a while.
Yeah, can you unpack that a little bit during the episode today?
Yeah, I'm gonna find that to post, because it's exactly what I've been talking about. I think OpenAI SWE's garbage post. But yeah, what else do we got to cover, Rob?
Well, quite a bit. We've got July 23rd is approaching fast. The Silicon Valley meetup. Big shout out to our hosts, Plug and Play Tech Center. That's going to be a fascinating event. You got some reveals that are coming for that, and there's some really interesting demos and panel coming together for that event. So that's Thursday, July 23rd, Sunnyvale, and we'll get the event link posted up into the chat. And the fall AI retreat in the Muskokas, September 18th to 21st. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with a optional Monday morning departure. That is almost booked up. We've got a number of double room suites that are available. So if you want to team up with somebody and grab one of those, it's actually a pretty affordable way to go about it. Yep, we'll post the link up to the AI fall retreat as well. So those are two big ones. There's a bunch of meetups that are going on. Really, Ruth, the evolution of the meta harness is looks, feels, and is acting like a hard takeoff moment for agentic engineering, and we've been experiencing that firsthand and driving it and defining it, and it's some pretty exciting stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing everything that evolves in the weeks to come. You've been knocking that stuff off very quickly. So
it's been interesting. We've been trying to reverse engineer the impact, the amount of users we have, what that represents in sort of addressable markets and size and valuations and all those things that drive those numbers. And we're probably a little too altruistic in the fact we kind of just give away stuff without any expectation of monetization of those things. And we've been fortunate that a lot of those, at least some of those things, have done really well. And one of the discussions that we've been having is around RuFlow in particular, which arguably it was the first meta harness, and the impact that's had. So when you look at our numbers, it's really hard to really determine the exact numbers. So these are things that we can sort of infer, but somewhere between, let's just say, 500,000 to 1 million people every month use the RuFlow system to do their development. And when you look at those users, you're seeing those aren't just regular users. Those are users who have decided that they need something more than the default experience within Cloud Code or Codex or a few other harnesses that they happen to be using. So these are users most likely that are spending $200 a month minimum on using, the either OpenAI or Anthropic. So let's say 1 million, because it's nice round math on that. That represents for us $200 million of spend directly attributable to Anthropic, most likely. Possibly 200. Maybe you break that up with the Codex users, which are probably a third. So somewhere around $200 million of aggregate spend on people using our platform every month. That's 200 million times 12. That's $2.4 billion in spend on our platform a year, if you look at it from that point of view. Now the question is, how do we capture some of that value? Right? Even if we split that in half, let's say conservatively that there's 500,000 users, and that's still $1 billion, right? And so now the question is, okay, so we've created a platform that is capable of accessing arguably the hottest area of tech, which is Claude Code and sort of agentic development and agentic coding, and we essentially have done zero to monetize that whatsoever. There's nothing you can buy. There's nothing you can upgrade to. It's just basically blindly given away. And so that's the kind of calculus that underpins some of the work that we've been looking at in terms of what can we do with our open source software. So separate to that, we've got the Agentics Foundation. And as we know, we've kind of got we've been, since the Linux Foundation kind of co-opted what we did a little bit, we've been like, where do we fit in? And in fairness, Linux Foundation is dedicated to doing this, and they have got hundreds of millions of dollars in yearly budget to work with. We don't. So, but what we do have is creativity. We have access. We've got a frontier in an area that we've defined, and everyone else is essentially followed. Whether you believe that or not, look at the difference in terms of the capabilities that we had in June of last year versus what Claude does today. It's pretty clearly, leading the pack there. So now the question becomes, how do we take all the pieces like the Agentics Foundation and the job boards and things that we're doing and use that as a mechanism to empower everyone in the community? And that when I mean empowering, I'm talking like jobs and reskilling and being more than what I was yesterday, which is, I think, the primary motivator for just about everyone that gets involved and volunteers their time to something that is essentially not paying you directly, right? So I think we all want to be more than what we are. Let me pause for a moment. Does that am I crazy, or does that sound about right?
No, this is exactly right. You're hitting on the key aspects of how do you monetize a great community that you've built that is passionate behind it, and now you're giving all of the proceeds away to another company that's repaying you with a single free Max license and a couple of t-shirts when we're providing billions in value for them. Sorry,
Yes.
you are providing billions.
No, not me. We. Like, there's no, it's clearly a community value and proposition. I can't do this without you, right? This and I hope you can't do it without me, and that's a mutually beneficial relationship.
And this, the
an example of this real quick. Oh, wait.
The unlocking of the revenue means more support, more evolution, a rapidly increasing set of capabilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's momentum. So, the clarity around both the scale, the scope, and the methods that's emerging is really very exciting because it's built.
Yep. Matt, you got
I've actually successfully sold work based on what is built here already. Like, I think there's probably several of us who have, and I would like you to think about maybe pulling together a little like group of people that have actually successfully already marketed it and come up with a way to like leverage that marketing, that success, or failures even, right? Because there's a couple where I actually failed to sell it too. So those are probably more valuable. So
yeah, no, and part of that is what we see with the sort of pivot to the sort of hire.agentics.org as a kind of, rather than a focus on a kind of arbitrary education, which is almost out of date the day we publish it, to more of like the people part of our community and a showcase of what those people can do with some mechanism to benchmark and illustrate what what the breadth of talent we have available to us looks like. Rohan, you got a comment?
Yeah, I raised my hand, but I thought like my thought was like derailing a little bit, but I just wanted to bring attention to the fact because I've leveraged a lot of the stuff that you've developed, but like for example, I work at General Motors, right? They're trying to compete with all the stuff that's happening in software-defined vehicles. And I see like a lot of the problem that, like, for example, GM is struggling is data governance. Like, they're not able to include a lot of the tools that are available, Claude Code and stuff. They don't provide the data governance that a company like GM would be comfortable with. So we're stuck with the very basic tools we have access to via Copilot and stuff. So I guess like if the data governance aspect can be figured out, I think your platforms will become more valuable than Claude Code.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. The interesting thing about the multitude of different open source things that we put out there, ranging from crazy to not so crazy, is it acts as a kind of filter. It allows us to see where those opportunities are, get the real-time feedback from people who are exploring and getting problems, and we can adapt much more quickly. Now, in like whatever that number is, whether it's 500 to a million or whatever, that touches almost every part of like the Fortune 500. Now, whether it's a direct adoption or some random employee in the middle of a giant company using it on their off time on the weekend, we have access in a way that is unusual because of that. Lorraine, you have a comment? Nope. Maybe you lost. Oh, there we are. Hey, oh, you turned on your camera. Good to see you.
Yeah, good. Hello. Hey everyone,
Hello.
it's been a while since I've been here, but I just thought I'd comment. I love the direction of this. I love this commercial lens that we're having now. I really love it. I'm inspired by it. So I want to take us back one slight step in terms of one, we're thinking about the value we are giving as an intermediary, right? So, and we're hoping for, I don't know, being fairly remunerated. But I also wondered, since a lot of the things that we've been doing is really like pushing the edge and the boundaries of stuff, is it possible to think again more strategically, where you think about the companies like Cursor and stuff that have been sort of hired or acqui-hired? Could we think of it more in terms of that way? What can we do and provide a value which could potentially mean that someone would think it's worth hiring us? So if we then think about, okay, Cursor started off open source, VS Code fork, then eventually did this sort of thing with the open source model. How is it in terms of maybe one of the products that's maybe either the reflow, one of the products that sort of like go hard, go all in, right? To then say, what can we do with it? That means that we don't need to be plug it into Claude Code, is that you actually just use our system and pay $10 or $20 or whatever it is. I don't know. Is that where you're thinking, or
Yes, you've articulated. Maybe actually, Chris.
No, maybe she used
Yeah, you
Rube here to pipe in.
Yeah, you. I think you piped into our previous discussion we had about half an hour ago. Chris, you wanna add some color here at all, or
I will in a week.
A week, okay.
How about next Friday?
Yeah,
I was just thinking about this right before the comment. I think next Friday we should actually maybe do and I might invite Rob to do the disclosure or speak on. But next Friday we'll spend 15 minutes on
Yeah, you are 100% dead on. What you described, it's almost like you dialed in and listened to our call. Yeah, that's I think what you're describing makes a lot of sense. There's opportunity as a kind of escalation to better, more capable tools that aren't necessarily open in like do you have to give away everything, sort of model?
We improve any system that that we bolt onto, whether it's Claude Code, Codex, PyDev, independent, what have you. it's an elevation of the entire ecosystem. So there's lots of options, right, Riff?
Yeah.
So I think we should think about it because the person just mentioned about GM. So happen to have worked at GM on that level before, making the decisions of software. So it's a good few years ago, but I did look after EMEA, APAC, and LATAM. So I had like quite a big oversight of, approving software and approving processes. And these types of industries don't move that quickly. So I definitely think there's too much talent and too much great work being done here. And all of us, it's almost like we are feeding off. Yes, we want to do great work. We're excited about building. And maybe what we really need is I don't know if the foundation can afford it, but we need to really be a lot more commercial. We just have to be, because unfortunately, that is the world we live in. And we've done the giving away, and then you still have like something that's given away, but it's almost like the Red Hat Linux Red Hat sort of model. It's like it's a stepping stone to more stuff, not you get all the bells and whistles or something else. So I just think it's worth thinking about again, and it sounds like it's the right direction, and I love it.
Yeah, this is Chris talking again, but yeah, I think you're dead on, and I think we've seen that it's being highlighted. We're going to give that direction, and I've talked to a few. Let's see a couple of faces on the screen here that I've talked to about it directly, and I think part of the model that we're driving forward gives everyone on this call a very nice forward path to working with Cognitum as well, and being part of our story and our development story. But it also makes commercial sense for all of you, and we'll highlight that next Friday and spend a little time doing it.
Yeah. Guy, how's it going?
Have you been? Looks like you're having a fun little retreat there.
Yeah, we gotta get you up here at some point. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the retreat later in the year, but I have another engagement. Yeah, I just want to ideate a little bit about ways that we could monetize the value that we're creating, right? So, pay for training. There's this company, they're kind of weird. It's AI Surfer. They got popular. They got like 1 million followers, but they built a kind of a clunky tool, but it makes it easy for small businesses to exploit AI and use it to do work for them. So, and their model was, hey, we're going to give you the software, but $1K for a 30-month engagement and training kind of thing. And that doesn't scale infinitely unless you have online kind of courseware kind of thing. Arbitrate the token savings, right? So if we can provably show that we're pushing work off to local models or reducing your token cost dramatically, take 1% of that and offer that as an option, right? Monetize the private brain hosting, right? Lots of companies don't know how to build their own knowledge base, their own brain model. And it's a problem I have right now with the company I'm working for is getting that set up because the technology is changing daily. But solve that problem, which you kind of have with the RuVector brain, and sell hosting of that, right? And get into the monetization by hosting your solution. And then just some other observations, right? So Microsoft is putting a legion of embedded engineers in place to try and raise their adoption rate, right, for the enterprise. So, and we have a similar kind of thing going on with Claude Code, right? So they're paying people. You have to be 18 years old. You don't have to have any experience. They're paying them $85K a year to learn the technology and promote the technology. So is there some kind of agreement that you get with the Claude Code or these other vendors to help promote adoption of their technology in ways that they see as increasing their monetization, right? They're already willing to do that. I don't think we've had any discussions with those vendors, right?
Yep. We sit in a really weird place, I think, possibly because I'm in Canada, I don't know, but the relationship with Anthropic is I can't say it's bad because there isn't one, which is weird. Given
Open calls. Yep.
given I'm I've just claimed that we're sending potentially $1 billion of recurring revenue to them. And what do I got? I have to go every 6 months. I got to go sign up, fill out a form to get $200, free account. Like that doesn't seem right to me. And Microsoft, I've got a history there. I was, divisional CTO for a while, so there is a bit of that. But the Microsoft guys aren't much better. At least they do work with me. And OpenAI, since they became whatever they became, my early relationship with them has kind of changed. We went from whatever that VIP thing was to non-existent. So it's an interesting world we live in. Maybe that's a byproduct of maybe me not trying to foster the relationship. But it is odd. But maybe we should do more, I don't know,
I
business
think
development.
business to business development, and also, the guy that made OpenClaw, which wasn't that great, right? He got acqui-hired for a ridiculous amount of money, right? This group, and you've been reached out to by a bunch of people to hire you directly, and you've kind of put them off because you want to do your own thing, and that's fine. But there is value right now. There's people willing to buy. Like if we package this group up as something, there's people willing to buy this at a really high premium, and I don't think we should at least consider that. I know that it wants to be its own thing, which is nice, but there's value being left on the table.
And Guy, you and I have had enough of these conversations, and we could talk through a little bit more. And the only thing I'm going to say is your comments are in line, and I would say that stay tuned. Probably by Wednesday, just and I'm talking from a Cognitum standpoint, right? Stay tuned. The Cognitum.1 website by Wednesday will be tremendously different. We'll answer a lot of questions on our trajectory, our path, and what we believe that we can accomplish very quickly. And I think it'll start to be in line a lot more with some of your comments here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Guy, if I can just to add one thing to what you just said, and hi Chris, by the way. So if I can add one thing, you also have to consider the fact that this is essentially an international organization right off the bat. So that's another aspect.
Yeah,
I think that's a value.
Global reach, global adoption, absolutely. The foundation, keeps the heart and soul of the foundation is ensuring that engineers get exposure to the leading edge of the technology, and as the hiring mechanisms and the certification comes online with amazing teams and the committees that are leading that value to the community to be able to plug in, validate that they do understand what's taking place, and then Cognitum has this evolution that's coming. So it's really exciting as a global organization and community. Just tremendous.
I would like to chip in here very quickly to say, echoing all the thoughts here, there's value on the table that the community here, which is our principle, the foundation remains non-profit, but the foundation encourages the members to monetize. That's been the motto, right? So basically we learn from one another, we build the community built based on trust and knowledge, and then we drive impact. So I guess we are doing a lot of things here, but I must say that sometimes it's an echo chamber amongst ourselves. Now, to get the message out, some of you might know that I've been kind of trying to organize a music event in Assam. I've been learning about the thing about players who don't know what we are doing. So think about the radio channels. We all listen to radio. Some of the discussions here, can we just take it to the radio, discussions, non-traditional channels? We all do podcasts and other things, but then again, they are on LinkedIn or YouTube, but they're echo chambers. But how do we get our messaging out to businesses more? What is Rooflow? Why is it so different? So I guess we could think about some non-traditional ways of amplifying our message if we do want to remain kind of independent as well. So those are some of my thoughts. I think there's a lot of value. I think we need to find ways of making sure that value flows to the membership here. Those are my thoughts to add.
And let me show you. I've got Craftsman. I want to catch up with you in a sec, but I want to give you a quick little demo here. This is something we're rolling out later today. So you're going to see a sort of work in progress. But yeah, as you guys know, one of the drivers for RuFlow is the status line. And to be honest, the status line has been a kind of an afterthought a little bit for me. I did it, and it shows stats that are interesting to me, and everyone's like, "What the hell does that all mean?" But what I did here, and you're going to see here an area called tips, features, and whatever. This is my dev environment. But what this can do, keep in mind, every day, hundreds of thousands of developers as we speak see that status line and we're like, what the hell is it, kind of thing. So we're thinking, well, that could drive not just like tips and tricks on how to use the system, but it could drive to like our hire portals and new projects that people in the community are launching and other various things to give that exposure, because altruism is great, but we all have ulterior motives, and those are fine because that's why you volunteer, to be more and successful, bring your company new customers, whatever it is. So this capability here means I can roll this out hopefully later today and instantaneously have the ability to deliver valuable information directly in the status line that people can see and interact with. And maybe the first thing we do is point people to our hire portal. Right. And that will drive arguably the most valuable sector of the Agentics world, the ones that are using the power user version of Claude Code, basically, which are in to whatever we're pointing them at. I don't know. So that's what I'm kind of thinking here. Now this is using the you can click it, it'll open whatever, that kind of thing, and it'll. I also have it as a kind of scroll, so it changes every, I think it's 30 seconds. So and keep in mind, the users of this thing are using it like 130 hours a week. So it's not like the random app like Instagram, you scroll. Well, I guess it is kind of like Instagram. This is like the TikTok of Agentics. You're in here all the time, right? You're seeing this stuff. So I don't know, that
Hey,
seems
Rube,
like
just
the alternative.
Rube, do you mind showing your repo with the banner we added for the Silicon Valley logo, so that way we can lead into a conversation around everybody in the community having some type of banner on their repo and do some.
Oh yeah, we did another test, and this was Matt's idea. It's a great idea, and similar to what Manjweep was saying, we need alternative sort of ways to drive awareness and activity. So what we did here, and as you guys know, this repo does really well. Tons and tons of daily users. So what we added was a little graphic here that basically pushes, in this case, this week, pushes people to the Agentics meetup in Silicon Valley in a couple weeks. It seems to work. So, these little graphics get the most amount of clicks. So this graphic here basically just takes you to the Cognitum site because, gotta eat. And this and this one takes you to my more altruistic stuff that I'm doing. So it's a balance. But again, you can see like we're at 64,000 stars, 8 million down. I think this is actually 10 million downloads at this point. So there's ways
Hey,
to
Ruth,
integrate
in terms of
channels.
analytics, just to jump in for a quick second, sorry guys, when you put that banner on, Roof, are you going to be, because obviously it's always about kind of establishing the metrics and you have the total number of downloads. Are you going to make sure that when you release this, you're going to be storing the analytics in terms of like the number of times that was called or clicked?
Already built. So I'm
Awesome.
GDPR compliant, and I'm not taking any personal information. It's open source. You can check what the heck I'm doing. And to be honest, I get a lot of flack. So anything that even vaguely looked like something I should be doing, I'd be called out and called I get a lot of shit. But so in this case, we're gonna use UTMs. And the data that's driving it is based on a hosted JSON file that I can use for, as the requests are made. So I can see the rotation, I can see click-throughs, I can see, I can finally get an actual number of daily users rather than sort of guessing based on NPM downloads and whatnot. And that could drive additional opportunities with our partners. And then when I show up at Anthropic and say, you know what, we've got 1 million users, and I'll be able to say that those 1 million users actually are using your pro plan at $200 a month, and I can tell you exactly that we're contributing $1.2 billion to your bottom line currently. Right.
So Roof, on that note, we have got Crossman. I think he has taken the lead in something that is happening next Saturday. I'll let Crossman say that, but maybe what you have done, would love to have that for this event. So maybe Crossman, do you want to just summarize, Crossman, what you've been up to?
Yeah, like I just like start with what I had originally in my mind. Hey guys, Robert and Roof together, it's a one in a lifetime thing to see, and I'm very lucky to see that today.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, for me, I've stopped like massively with Claude and this one. I think this one, the two directions we can go, right? One is going the direction with Claude, the subscriptions. But I think while we keep that channel massively open, I think we have this massive channel of open source LLMs, right? Because people have realized that how seemingly generous they seem, we all know at the end of the day, it is just extremely temporary. And also, this is like focused to my upcoming event, also is that, and I'm predicting that by the end of next year, anyone from any part of the world is going to release a model as capable as Opus to run on a typical 5090, where you would just need a 32 GB VRAM. And I hope it is us, anyone from the crew, and I'm working hard towards that goal. And I think this is a very massive undertapped opportunity which people are not doing, because we all think LLMs are the way, but I think also people are forgetting that. And like I'll give a very good analogy, right? A student becomes a great academic depending on the surroundings they are in. The problem is the only people who give the good surroundings is Anthropic and OpenAI, and they have put it into a lab. And we need to crack that recipe. And if we're able to crack the recipe and give that really good system, that's what we call a reinforcement learning environment, which we've been discussing through LLM, and I've been doing the same also. We have a very good opportunity on this side, is that we can create the best coding models, and we can own the IP. We don't even need to open source it. We can open source it and put into a non-commercial license agreement. There's nothing stopping us from that, and we can make a lot of money out of it, because people have already pissed off with Anthropic and OpenAI. And if we create a Fable 5 like model, but running on a Qwen 3.627B, that's the one thing. And I was just thinking along those lines of doing a lot of research, and I've been doing that, and that's probably my thing for the next week event on Bengaluru, which is an on-site event, is I'll be teaching everyone how to do this reinforcement learning. But also I've been personally been researching is how to create this ecosystems for like a reward-based system, right? Like suppose if you hack, how can you create a statistic algorithm where you teach the LLM? In case not large LLMs, small language models to do these things. But I think there's a really good opportunity here of teaching and creating our own intellectual property models. And also these big labs, they set up massive data lakes. We know it. In EVA, you can see it's probably certain probably zettabytes of Snowflake entries. No one does anything much about it. And it's like, why can't we teach these LLMs to create this? Like, how can we teach the LLM to operate like a human being, but also give it some time, right? Like, let that run as a background process. Using reinforcement learning and recursive self-improvement files and everything. So yeah, I think that's what I have been thinking, and I think this also will be very valuable to the Agentics Foundation.
So Crossman, if you don't mind, if you could put on the link on the chat, and I guess the reason I pointed out is that I am trying to. I will be in India, and we are going to have the event also in Guwahati. Got some location, so in the Assam chapter. But I guess what Crossman is trying to do is basically create a reinforcement-based game with an idea that small language models can be fine-tuned, and we can find use cases to be creators rather than consumers of the tech. I think you got a link, I think, for the Lumar event. I guess Google is going to sponsor. I've spoken to our usual supporters in the community in Google. They're going to sponsor with 100 accounts on this. I think that's what they promised on the 18th and 19th. But I think the focus is Gemma model, I think, Crossman, right? Gemma, and then you're going to use 2 other models, you said. You're not going to use Quinn, you're going to use 2. So
We're going to use
if
a
we
variety
can
of
do it,
models.
if we can use globally, I think there's nothing stopping the rest of the community actually joining in, because I mean, I will be in a physical location, Crossman will be in a physical location. We got it. We were trying to make it operate online as well. So it's I guess it's open to the community members here across chapters if you want to join us. And I think, Roop, what I was saying is that what you've done for Silicon Valley, I think if we could amplify this message, because Crossman is also trying to build relationships with NVIDIA and Google locally in India, right? So because we want them to support this going forward, because one of the problems we have is that, you know, it's great someone sponsoring a venue for one event or the other, but it's not sustainable. So, and this is the problem every chapter is facing. So if we amplify the messages, we can pull people rather than push into supporting us and part of the journey. That was a request.
Well, here's this is a test, and we're going to find out whether it works or not. But what we're going to do here later today is we're going to launch the updated status line, and as part of that, we can include links to whatever we want to link to, right? If Agentics, meetups, and hire sites and whatever it is, and that if that works, we'll have a captive audience of the right people that'll see that, and maybe that'll drive even more awareness for what we're doing.
Yep.
Get a mailing list from it.
Yes. Well, that's you hit the nail on the head. Everyone uses the platform in the millions, 10 million or whatever downloads. And I've never collected one email ever. It's like, oh, go use it. Just don't tell me what you're doing. But the result for me, when at least what before Cognitum, was I had a steady stream of opportunities, right? Big companies showing it, and next thing you know, some giant corporation had 200 developers using my platform or whatever, and they're like, okay, who built this? That was the initial sort of model that I had, which obviously wasn't scalable, but it did help prove the platform.
I can illustrate your corporate penetration depth. I like literally am working at Tim Horton corporate headquarters here in Florida, and pitching RVF as a solution for something for them, right? Tim Hortons, yes, the coffee place. Also Popeyes and Burger King and Firehouse Subs for those Americans here. Anyways,
I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. The headquarters for Tim Horton is in Florida.
It's
in Miami.
Yeah, it's private equity or something, I think.
Take that, Canada. We even got your number one thing.
Yeah, don't worry about
Anyways,
that.
So I'm pitching RVF and like talking about how we can actually just run this to solve a problem, right, that they have. And the guy, one of the stakeholders there, I'll say, basically said he knew who you were and your software, and that I had to actually prove it because of RuView mostly. Like so RuView basically put him like so polarized on one side, right? No, it was very easy to prove what I had to say, right? Like he's a numbers guy, and he immediately, I mean, he's cool anyways. I like him a lot. I appreciate him, right? The honesty, right? So your penetration there is insane. If you think about that, this is at like director C-level at a private equity company that owns major brands, and they know you specifically.
Notorious, there's no, it's no notorious, but keep in mind the review was built in an hour on a Vibecast on a random Thursday, and then I forgot about it until it went viral, and oh shit, I better clean that up. Now that is like the leading edge of the bleeding edge of the bleeding edge. It's the most crazy thing we could possibly build, right? And now that discounts the other 1,000 things that we've built now, but collectively the portfolio of stuff we've built is been downloaded 100 million times or something in the last year, and that gives us breadth it's what I think someone said is flooding the zone. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
That's right.
But it's a spectrum of between absolute insanity, and more practicality.
See, the thing
They're
is though
always
that
pushing.
that absolute insanity drove that conversation so well. Like the problem, like just like completely, it helped actually. So like keep building crazy stuff because it just brings people in because the underlying structure that's there, and the more of that we can publish that like brings people in to look at it, like make it a spectacle. P.T. Barnum
I'm going to
understood this
interrupt
Thank
process.
you for
there.
that, Matthew.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to interrupt you there because I think that's where we should stop building. What's happened now is that there's been some real star pieces of work which have gone viral. So showing that you can do room flow, so you can do review, it's how many times do you need to show excellence to prove you're excellent? You don't need to keep proving that. The point is proven. So doing more and more is almost like what you're saying, insanity, repeating the same action over again and expecting a different result.
I'm building because I can. I'm not building like the review wasn't built as like I'm going to create the first person to create spatial intelligence or whatever. I'm like what Nick's like create something crazy, right? And let's create that and we do that every week, multiple times a week. And I just enjoy the process of creating and exploring the unexplored. And it's not maybe that's my problem. It wasn't created because I wanted to monetize it, create a new industry or anything. It's just what could we do that's never been done was the question.
Ruth, what I'm saying is that what's been proven by that is that if you want bleeding edge, cutting edge innovation, it can be done here, right? What I'm saying is to proving the point of originality that already exists, proving the point of like adoption already exists. So what I'm saying is we need to go now beyond that because it's now more strategic. Doesn't mean these things can't happen. The focus has to sort of change because
So
it's just not there's so much happening where we're not, it's almost like I don't even know what it is, a hamster's wheel. So
we
what
just
we
surfaced it, right?
is where
I think
sorry
we need to, I think, Lorraine, I think you are beautifully putting it. We need to surface it now. Because I think what Matthew, you said, right? You get the example of the C-suite, right? So people know.
Yeah.
Now, Roof,
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, if we can, when I approach someone, right, for Cognitum, I basically say, here are the investors, here are the founding advisors, Intel, AOL, etc. But all the stuff, there are CEOs here in this group, I think. If we can formally surface the awe, basically about what we are doing here, that's enough for us to push further because we are doing great work. I think back to what Matthew, you and Lorraine, I think both of you are kind of saying is that there's so much already happening, but we still need to continue creating Roop. That's what you are. But we need to find a way of surfacing formally, like here are the top 10 CEOs of these, across retail, across who are actually using. Here's a testimonial about the work, just like LinkedIn recommendation. If we can have that, we as community members can use it to kind of
that's just finding the right balance, Mondeep, between discretion, adoption, the right amount of tooling, and that's what this week has been all about. And leveraging that momentum that we already know exists. I think, if I understand correctly, I think Reuven's got 40% adoption rate more or less within the Fortune 100. This is not a question of whether or not these tools are radically effective. We know that is actually the case. So what those next steps look like in terms of the usage of the platform, everything is also enhancing. It's a massive net gain for Anthropic and any platform that Rooflow sits on top of. So
I think it's a simple reputation management thing. Just tag it as, hey, this is from the Mad Scientist project, or this is, our top secret projects, and it's not intended to be, production quality. It's just to prove here's the cutting edge of something, and it's an example. And I think people took it as, oh, he's saying this absolutely is perfect, ready for production. You don't need radars anymore, blah, blah, blah. And that was not the intent.
Ever. Never.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that it's an experiment. It's building and researching in public, and when you get popularity, there's an expectation of like finesse and and polish. I don't know why it has 80,000 freaking stars. It's popular on TikTok, and literally I'm like the only guy building it. So amongst the other 1,000 things I'm doing, and then it's like, oh, well, it's 80,000 stars, therefore it has to be. It's either slop or he bought followers or something. If if I was to buy followers that at a $3 a pop, I'd be spending $1 million on followers. Like, who the hell would do that, right?
So here's the thing, though. Like Stewart basically took this and successfully has a potential like market for it that's very valuable, right? So like it's not just like some like one-off popularity thing, and it gave me that penetration at that corporate level. So I actually feel like it's so incredibly powerful and successful that we underestimate the value of that very easily because of the popularity getting so high. The two are not like mutually exclusive. They could be together. It's completely inspiring too. Like Stewart, like, and what he's done is amazing. I've been working with him on it, and like I know that this thing works, and I've already got it. I bought special new routers so that I can actually set it up so my whole house has it, right? So I have presence and other stuff in throughout the house because I know it works. It's not a joke. It's not some bad and I think that this is going to continue to happen. Like as AI gets better, as these models get smaller and smaller or able to run on smaller devices, this Mac that I bought a couple weeks ago, I'm like amazed at the power of local AI. And so the value here is probably not even in these big partners that have the frontier models. The value is in what you've already built. You already have this, and it's actually more like a consulting business and I would liken it to like Microsoft and look at them because they did not make their money off of software. Most people think that their entire financial model was software, but they were a consulting company from the very beginning, and that's how they made the lion's share of their money and still do. And that's pretty much like what you've done is like I've taken my career and pivoted into AI, and I'm using a lot of the work that we've done because I'm working on it too. Like it's the foundation of what I'm selling, and it's selling huge work.
That's it, Matthew.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. So Matthew, this is Chris, and listen, all these, I like listening to these. It's from a cognitive standpoint, it's fabulous, and I love all the points. And I think Mondweep has a little bit more knowledge of what we're doing because I've had a lot of those conversations with him. Same with Matt and a few others that are on here, and I'm happy to talk to you about this specifically as well. And I'm just going to reference back. Watch the website over the next few days. You'll see a lot more on our model. It's going to line up almost identically with what everybody here is talking about. I use the saying, it takes the USS Enterprise 4 35,000-ton oars to move the ship, right? We're effectively putting a solid foundation in here so that we can now build that USS Enterprise and start pushing it. I don't know what the equivalent boat is in Canada, but
it's my dinghy.
The dinghy back here, I think is what it is. But
75 horsepower.
But the point is that we will spend. I just saw Robert fall. Robert is a little knows a little bit about my knowledge here too, and it's funny because you guys have all referenced McKinsey and you've referenced Salesforce. We are putting a model in place that can be equivalent to a McKinsey discipline with a Salesforce distribution, and utilizing everybody that's on this to basically help to commercialize, identify, and grow their own personal businesses and the opportunity with us as a technology company. Mm-hmm. And so we will talk through that next week. We'll make sure it'll be 15 minutes. I'm sure it'll turn into a little while. But any other questions or anything that you have between now and then, I'm happy to discuss it if you can't wait for a week. But I'm happy to discuss it and jump on a call. But a lot of you have had a little bit of this pre-knowledge before we're going, but we've verified it, we've validated it, and we believe it's a massive opportunity, and it's a massive opportunity for all of you as well. So we'll talk through it more.
Yeah.
So quick question, because I've been away for a little while, can someone just remind us of the relationship? Because I know, Ruth, you started this Cognitum, of how Cognitum and Agentics fit together officially or unofficially. Can you just allude to that again for us, please?
Maybe I'll let Chris answer that.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I mean, I think it's, Rubes obviously is, the head of the Agentics Foundation effectively, or founder. And Cognitum is the commercialization or the commercial arm of the Rubes stack. Effectively, that's what it is. The open source will continue to be pressed and pushed and developed. New technologies will continue to be pushed into the open source. But from a commercialization standpoint, targeting the networking and infrastructure or enterprise type customers, or SMB or SME or anybody that wants to utilize the technology, fundamentally that's where the Cognitum One umbrella starts. And so part of this is that we do feel we obviously have a strong connection to the open source model. We'll continue to support it. If there's technologies or features or capabilities that we think are tremendously important, then those will get pushed in the open source market, and new advances, new feature sets, and anything else that lines up more with the commercial applications will be pushed in a Cognitum manner. So.
I'm going to put it in a less like CEO way that Chris said. In a perfect world, we're both the Agentics Foundation and Cognitum are extremely successful, and this community is successful along with it. I want to hire everybody in the community.
Well, and that's fundamentally it, is that everyone in this community that has helped to spearhead, helped to drive, helped to influence, helped to develop, helped to add capabilities. We're not in a I saw Dion Dom put official Roofsoft consultants. It's actually certified Cognitum One professional services is what we'll be doing. But it gives everybody an opportunity to utilize what the inputs they've had and the technology that's been developed. And we want to make sure that we're recognizing that and being part of it.
And then the Agentics Foundation itself has big projects and big mandates and some incredible work out of David Grattan and the team, as far as and Jason LaBarbera, as far as the definitions of what FDEs look like and what a certification look like, because the market is having trouble identifying what the skill sets really are and where the technology really is. They're having trouble identifying the right candidates. So the work that Chris McGrath has done, the hiring board, these are really core missions for the Agentics Foundation to make sure that our community has access to the leading edge tools and can validate that they've got certification for those tools, and that potential employers or partners that that community members are connecting with, that they've got that kind of validation, right?
Yeah.
So lots of
So I just write forward deployed Agentics. So
right.
Exactly. Or
So-
deployed, yeah.
So the reason I asked that, to be honest, was a leading question, walking you towards something. So if we look in Anthropic, they have these service partners, right? And in the Agentics Foundation, we have all these great people who basically could be these service partners. And I was wondering, so my original thought was this originally like the OpenAI profit non-profit model, how they started? They had a commercial arm, and so now I understand it's two completely separate entities who just so happen to have overlapping leadership, but they're legally separate.
No, it's not just leadership. There's overlapping community, and a lot of, as you can tell, we're probably overly open about what we're doing. But
overly open.
Yeah. But the reality is, this is unique experience. The fact that we can have this relationship with you and the community and understand what you need and what you want and what your objectives are, and then both have two different streams. One is a kind of nonprofit altruistic stream, and the other is, we live in a world of capitalism and need to make a buck and pay the bills. And if you want to be effectively altruistic, you need to play by the rules of the world we live in.
Yeah. There's
But
resources
also
to do.
ultimately it's not sustainable. So it's not even whether you want to be or not want to be, you've got to eat, right? So so the reason why I was going with that is with these service partners, which I shall drop a link, is it something that someone here can pitch towards? Because that's obviously also another angle. I will
I'll go back to Chris's comment about the updates to the Cognitum website next Wednesday. And what kinds of things they'll what kind of options and things folks might be plugging into and getting a sense of. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing but, because collectively, you know, we call it the frothy experimental frontier, from which amazing insights drop out and we can integrate. And it means collectively we're defining all of these remarkable high impact opportunities and projects and things along those lines. So, yep, tons in every direction for us to dive in on.
If you don't mind me just quickly butting in, this is also, I think you're very right there, Rob. As I kind of put in the thing, I was literally talking to JP Morgan about how they're working with Anthropic yesterday, and they said even they haven't worked it out. They said they don't know how they're doing forward deployment engineering yet. So it's all so wild and open. Like if we can help make the playbook or be a part of that, like that's it. Like that's your name getting written down in history for that. So, and I see that you guys can probably seem like the ones to push forward in the right direction. So, it makes complete sense.
And Robert, you're way ahead of everybody else on this call because you and I have probably spent the most time talking about this, right?
Yeah, when talking to them, they were just like, "This is so new." Like JP Morgan were literally saying that they don't know they don't know how this really works. So we'll see how they go with it and see how that works out. So they've got them run for 3 years. So that's how long their large projects are for. So,
and that's near universal, especially in such a fast-moving environment. So thank you for that, Robert. Yeah, we think there's really good, very high quality frontier definitions and work that's being done by a number of folks in the community. And so as that coalesces, it's going to be really exciting to be able to provide that clarity to the market.
And while I'm not sure if Stu's still on here, but just to quickly change the subject briefly, Stu's created a cool little app this week for integration of sort of the my stack, if you will, as a kind of grounding component. Stu, are you still
I'm here.
around? Oh,
yeah, I'm here.
You want to explain the system?
Fred, this is we had put it out last week. I literally just rolled the 2.0 version right before this session. If you click on the scorecard right there, right there, good. You'll see that it basically pretty massive upticks in terms of it acting more like Rube, being smarter, being more token efficient. Dragon had given me a lot of feedback. Mario had given me a lot of feedback. Mark Allen had given me a lot of feedback. And the whole point of this is, what if we could all code just like Ruve and it just worked? And the intention is take all of Ruve's stuff, give it to you, download it once. It updates itself nightly. It looks at all of his gists. It looks at his latest repos. It looks at any new pushes in the repo. It stores it all in advanced RVNet RVF files, and it basically acts like Ruve would act to leverage all of his tools on your projects. I have found it to make a massive uplift for me. I've heard feedback from other people that they're seeing it work for them. I built it for me to try to get a handle on it. I immediately thought of this as something that could share with us to help all of us kind of uplift what we're doing, because we all know different pieces about what Ruve does. None of us know all of what goes on in his head, and because he's so prolific, this kind of puts all of that knowledge into the tool, so that if you miss a week, you miss an hour, you miss 5 minutes of 10 things he's rolled out, you're not behind, and it's still cognizant and knowledgeable of it. So far seems to be working well. It's free. It's made for everyone. It's a one-line NPX install. It auto updates itself now on a nightly basis, and feel free to use and utilize it. You can see I used to have 21 repos. Now this morning it's got 32. I've tried to put as much of all of the core stuff of he has as possible. It is seriously deep. The RVF files and the embeddings, I spent 10, 15 hours going through and making sure they were really nailed. And this is the best thing I could find on having his knowledge, his actions, including the gist and how he thinks about things. So it thinks how Roof thinks, allows you to do long running things. And I'm hoping that kind of putting it out there for folks, it is useful to you. So
okay,
by all means,
Stuart,
please
Stuart,
utilize.
I just hope that in version 3 you're linking up that neural headgear that Ruth was showing us yesterday. So
That's only after Nick survives whatever the weekend is. I'm not doing anything until I have proof of life.
That's right. I think that's the base standard baseline.
Yeah,
right?
actually, Stu. So I did integrate it into my workflow. So you can see here that this is my development environment on my Ubuntu machine back in my office, and you can see here that the RVNet brain it jumps in and grounds it as I'm working. So now I've got the ability for it to basically understand the kind of breadth of the things I've created. And I actually suffer from the same problem you probably suffer from, where the system's like, it's bullshit. There's no way that this exists. And I'm like, hey, Claude, you built this for me. What are you talking about? So this is this grounds it and allows me to sort of understand my own code base even better. So what I did here is I integrated this as a both a hook, and I created an MCP integration. Maybe I can see it if I do Control O. And as it goes and does things, it basically fires the hooks and sees what's happening and does various it better integrates. So yeah, it works great too.
Are you tying it into Rooflow?
It's all tied into Rooflow.
No, I mean like actually like in the core so that everybody just gets access to it.
Yeah, that's what we've been discussing. So and this is a part that I've been kind of debating. So one of the things about Rooflow is it's agnostic and it's meant to allow you to build whatever. Now the current, I don't know what you want to call it, pivot or updates have gone a little more towards those plugins and skills. Those skills are heavily focused on my ecosystem. So at this point, as you use my platform, you're kind of being guided in the development and methodology of the things I like to do. This idea of contrastive AI, the idea of vectorization, the ability to have a kind of causal loops and all these kind of interesting concepts. So the next major step is, do I want to be more explicit? Now, if I directly integrated, what Stu is given in the way that I'm using it in the Rooflow, it would probably amplify the usage of my tools dramatically, because it's going to essentially suggest the use of those wherever possible, which would probably, I don't know, be an exponent to its downloads. The drawback to that, I can hear it coming now, is everyone complaining that I'm biased towards my own stuff, but the reality is I am 100% biased to my own stuff and my own approaches. That's literally why
I
I built
apologize for that. Your stuff works where other
Embrace
approaches
it.
don't.
Yeah, I'm
embrace
just,
it.
I got a lot of flack, and sometimes it's, you start doubting yourself when everyone tells you you're a fraud or whatever. But, so
Listen, this is here because we don't doubt you, and it shows it. And the other thing it does is I had this one implement your meta harness by default. I'm also having it figure out how to handle using cheaper models by default. So any of us who have Max accounts on Claude, it now goes further. It's using Dragon's QE Agentics by default. It's using the ADR DDD methodology by default. So it's trying to do more of you guys have all taught us collectively to use, but it's doing it out of the box so that it knows the things to do, and that's its go forward premise, as opposed to you always having to remember to call the various things that, frankly, those of us who didn't write them don't always know how to call them the right way. I may know that I want to use QE Agentics to test, but I don't know how to call it the right way. This now does. Same thing with meta harness, and that was the intention, making it more useful.
And for those who may not have been following along for the entirety of the evolution of that, there's two factors you're dealing with. One, it's a very large ecosystem of best-in-class tools that leverage each other. That's effectively what Rue's been building out of his passion and insights on the frontier. But then also we're developing and accelerating ahead of the cutoff dates of the large language of the foundation models. So they have no clue about how to ground themselves in what's happening right now, hyper contemporary evolutions of the technology. And then you've got this very rich tool set. So this really,
that speaks to the one other thing. We all know that this is, I always joke, we're 6 to 9 months ahead. I don't joke, I position we're 6 to 9 months ahead of supposed state of the art. One of the things we're not doing is we're not telling that story in a crystallized way enough to say, by the way, let me show you how we did agents here, 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 and here. Now let me show you 9 months later when it showed up in Anthropic and everybody thought it was really cool. Okay, let me show you what we're doing with Root Vector. It'll be a year before this stuff shows up anywhere. Gemini kind of tried to do a little piece of it a few months ago. They didn't even implement it correctly. Let me show you what we're doing with Root. And that's a way to kind of push and say, if you want to see what the front of the curve of AI innovation looks like, that's what these tools are showcasing.
So I'm sorry, having been someone who's been really heavily into corporate as a few other people, just because it's not released doesn't mean that they didn't have it. That's how sometimes where they play this game, all of them, where one person releases something and they have a model to in their back pocket. So let's not be naive and say it means that they weren't there. It just means that the commercials, because we also need to learn to be more commercial. The commercials perhaps we're not ready for them to be deployed in. But what it can show is that we are in alignment and thinking in the right direction because we're releasing things before someone else has released it, rather than it means we are ahead or that they're copying us. It just means that independently of what they do, we can do it.
In fairness, we had loops almost 5 years ago. Yeah. So, there's no way, this is before Anthropic was even, a company. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess, but we have enough insight into these companies to know they're not doing it. Or they're just copying us. It's pretty clear.
And more importantly, the point is for positioning, if we want to take this into executive shops, the point is to say, we are the front end of the tip of the spear of the innovation of AI. This is where this goes. And Matt and I had this conversation yesterday relative to the job board you guys are looking to put out. If you're positioning these tools as that, then they want people who know those tools. Now, all of a sudden, the job board's differentiated. The people you get are not AI people who vibe code. They're the people that know the front end tools that are at the front end of the curve. All of that helps position this group and the team as the front end.
Yeah.
That's what people are looking to buy. And if you want to position that, there are a lot of ways we can position that. And if there's a conversation to be had about taking this back to Anthropic, that shouldn't be that hard to go have a conversation with them about what we can do and how we can help.
Yeah. And part of, to your point, one of the biggest pivots we've made in the hiring portal we're in the process of launching here is this idea of human plus agent and the measurement of the capabilities of an AI augmented developer, engineer, whatever you want to call it, and an executive marketing person, whatever the job is, and having a mechanism to say, what does, how effective and how much more effective is that person, when using these types of agents. So that this board, and this is something Chris and Jason and a few others I've really brought a lot of insight into. The future of sort of AI augmented people and employment is going to be important as part of that. And right now, no one's really looking at the impact of those two pieces and measure in a measurable way. That's what this is. So what this job board or whatever you want to call it is doing is taking all the things we've learned from things like benchmarking models and benchmarking human in the loop and benchmarking this kind of flywheel, self-learning, self-optimizing, self-writing sort of structure that we've made, and then creating it in a way that's demonstratable to an enterprise or a company looking to hire someone who is struggling with this fact that now, well, what did Jason tell us earlier in the call, that that NVIDIA had 2 million applicants for 20,000 jobs last year. And he said of those 2 million, every single one of those resumes was highly polished, looked almost exactly the same because they're all using Claude and ChatGPT to create these resumes. So it's really hard for them to distinguish who's actually really good because everyone looks amazing. So you suddenly need to have this other mechanism to measure it. That's a problem we're trying to solve with this. So we're saying, what does that escalation look like? How do we measure that effectively? And if we do our job right, that gives us a huge differentiation in that in this next generation of employment.
Yep, it puts community members way ahead in being able to validate the actual skill sets and awareness.
Yeah. So,
but it does require us to shift the storytelling from we built a cool tool to we're at the front end of the curve. And right now, we all know that you are, but there's no page we go to that shows how far the whole RVNet stack is in front of everything else, with demonstrations, with proof, with concepts, etc. We know it because we live it, but that's a story we need to tell and double down on and reinforce with Fortune 500s and with core partners to show them we've built something you need to pay attention to.
Love it, Stu. Absolutely.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to add some color.
Yeah,
color. A lot of the things that everyone's bringing up, we know we've had conversation internally in the Agentics Foundation, and we agree in most part about a lot of the sentiments that you guys are having. This is for people who are maybe new to the community also. One thing to know is Ruve is a prolific art of the possible guy. So where do you fit as a member in the community, having access to, in most part, software that is being innovated and invented on the fly? You have the opportunity to either get one of the repos, create your own startup. You can contribute to the repo, i.e. Stu, who, by the way, 8 months ago, Stu wasn't doing what he's doing now in this fashion. He has grown exponentially in between when I met him and now, which is a perfect example of how the new people are a part of the Agentics Foundation or on this call, how you guys can contribute. We're looking for volunteers. We're a small, I guess, ragtag team of passionate people that are focused on driving and pushing the initiative. So a lot of your ideas, feel free to come in and champion them and push them forward. The other part is, so you have Ruve building innovative things that in some way they're the art of possible that may need some molding and crafting, and he's just planted a seed, i.e. Cognitum, right? And so then you can come in and you can refine that seed, water it, and figure out the verticals you want that idea to live in. And then the other part is contribute, i.e. like Stu, what he did with extending out the repo. And then the other part is within the foundation. We need help to further explore these initiatives, including what Matthew Bean brought up in regards to bringing it into the customer sites and showing them also the art of the possible and what you learned. And I think the most critical last thing I'll say is we all go out and explore. We have access to cutting edge technology. What is really good is if everybody could remember, we need the feedback loop. So when you go out and you learn and you explore and you understand that this works at XYZ place and XYZ vertical, come back and tell us about it. Share with us what worked, what didn't work, so we can continue to innovate and learn and grow and help more people. So, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, Matt. Thank you. And yeah, just to second that, as far as newer folks maybe on the call, the volunteers that are here, Anne has been doing incredible work and bringing together volunteers for us. Matt, of course, has been an amazing energy in the foundation for ages now, and thankfully is serving as a board member as well. So maybe this is a place as we begin to sort of wrap up for the week, but there was conversations about us putting together, and Nick and I were talking about putting together some first steps training for new volunteers, so that as people that are really discovering the foundation, the community, and the technology for the first time, that we have some sessions that are available weekly to help get them up to speed more quickly so that they can begin to effectively explore the space. You can't leave, it takes time to get context, but you can get some assistance with plugging into the tools. So I think that's, we'll have those conversations about how we want to set that up and facilitate that, but it could be really, really helpful.
Rob, that's where Mark Allen could really help. He's already put together a bunch of classes on that. He's taught a bunch of lay people how to use RuVector and RuFlow, put it together, and he's got them up and working successfully, and he's really good at translating Ruv to human. Not Ruv, but Ruv stuff to human.
And guys, I'm here. I'm happy
right, sorry.
with that.
Hey,
Thank you for mentioning it, Stuart. I think that you guys know I'm always happy to help.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and as you know, Mark is our adult supervision when we're hooking Nick up to random probes and whatnot.
That's right. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
That might not be the best idea. Thank you for that.
Makes me very grateful.
And thanks to Mark, I now know more dermatologists than I thought I'd ever would.
Yeah.
I'm big in the world of dermatology. That's why my skin sparkles as much as it does. I see Antoinette. And we borrowed Martin this week. He's about to get on the boat here and surf the lake. So
and you're gonna drive.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah, no, and he's got the last spot in the cottage here, so he's been on the cot. Hopefully you're okay back there.
It's all good.
Yeah, he only slept 13 hours. He's good.
He got his beauty rest in.
Is he okay? I don't know. He was building stuff in his sleep last night.
He woke up with a seed in his hand.
Yeah.
See the V0.
Yeah, tucked under his wing, carefully nested.
Yeah, we're having a great time.
Some crackers.
Yeah, but this we need to do more of these. And with broader, I can't fit that many people here in my lake house.
Muskoka in the fall.
Yeah,
yeah. And just by the way, there is an enormous amount of small hotels and motels and Airbnbs all around the Rocky Crest location. So it's not expensive. It's Canadian dollars.
Yeah, which is basically nothing at this point.
Yeah.
The Canadian dollar's taking a real dump lately.
So I hope to see as many of you as can conceivably make it. If you need a formal invitation to the event in order to facilitate your travel, then as a community member, that's something that's completely legitimate and something that we're willing to help with as well. So,
yeah,
excited to see you all for Rob's presentation next Friday.
Right. There we go. You got a big presentation.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna probably wrap it up a little early today. We got some boating on Lake Huron to do.
Hey guys, you got people requesting links to the upcoming Toronto event in the chat. So just a reminder to throw that in before you sign off. Sorry, Riff.
Oh,
yeah. On a similar note, is that event in Silicon Valley going to be streamed by any chance? Because it's a fairly long walk from Warsaw to the event. So
that's a good question. We have to figure that out. It's a new venue.
You may not have heard this, but that Alaskan land bridge thing is gone. You can't walk anymore.
Damn. Thanks for a heads up.
Yeah,
He's had enough. He's had enough adventures for the summer as it is.
well, yeah. Well, we got to see you there in Budapest. Did you see the song that Matt made one night in Budapest?
So,
Oh, but Matt, you gotta do the Jay-Z Linkin Park version that you
yeah, I gotta
You
find
gotta
that.
send a
Yeah,
picture of Budapest Vice in there too.
you know, he did it. He did a new version. It was like rap metal.
Yeah, I'll play it next week after
All right.
the presentation.
Yeah, we will work to get the Agentics meetup
Streaming.
yeah, streaming from Plug and Play.
I could bring a camera or stick it in the corner.
Yeah.
Or we could just
Well,
yeah.
well,
Plug
plug and play are
Listen,
sure to
Plug
have
and Play
some
can't get set
technology.
up.
Yeah, you
They're
think
the king of marketing stuff like this.
I think we'll figure
Wait a
something.
minute. Hang on a moment. Do you guys didn't notice something? We don't see Nick. Did we have an update from the headset? What happened? Do we have an update?
Still haven't got it working yet.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys tried it out and he's just not available at the moment.
Yeah, he's not available. He's still sleeping too.
Yeah,
No comment.
Yeah,
he's
there
on
we
the other
go.
side.
You gotta show yourself, Nick. You gotta,
Yeah,
let everybody know.
they're asking for proof of life.
There you go.
Proof of life.
Yeah. All right.
I think the two function calls are taking place with Nick, so Nick has become Agentic completely.
Yeah, we're well on the way to making Robo Nick.
Do we have the original pic of Nick being strapped into wires? That would be amazing to see.
Yeah, and thanks Nick for playing the Oasis last night by the campfire. We had a great and Tom Waits is that what you played, Rob?
Tom Waits.
Yeah, we had a great little outdoor concert. It was fun. All right. Anything else? What else are we forgetting here?
I think that's it. We got the events that are lined up for next week. We know there's interesting updates and announcements on the tech side coming on the Cognitum site next Wednesday. There's a status line innovation.
I'm gonna try to push out the status line later today, possibly tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we'll have to maybe I'll create a form or something for people, or maybe we'll do a pull request for people who want to include their stuff. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Yep.
Get in touch. We'll make that happen.
Bro, why can't you use it as an advertising board? Like auction. Put an auction. If you want to advertise here, put it as an auction. That helps with the funds.
Yeah, well, we can create the Nick coin.
There's a ton of A/B testing we can.
Hold on, one second. There's no sponsorship line there. I've just checked. There isn't one in the repos.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should probably do that as well. I
think you should add
yeah, to Chris's point, socialism doesn't pay.
Right. It doesn't have anything to reinvest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities there.
Rob, there's been an ask on how to volunteer in the community and how to be involved with the community. I put my LinkedIn in the chats. I can help bridge, but Ann is shepherding and promoting that. So I'll get you whoever's interested, Aaron and others.
We had a change of venue. I don't know what's happening with our Toronto meetup this month.
We're in flux.
We're in flux. Yeah, we need to find a new venue.
That was a federal building that has its own dynamics that are going on. So yeah, so we'll be looking for that. But yes, Ann Kentera. Yep. Thank you so much, Ann. Volunteer coordination and making sure that committees and teams have new folks and experience sets is just so great to have. So thank you very much. But anybody looking to volunteer, for sure, and Matt, Nick, you can reach out to any and all of us, and we will plug you in within and find you something fascinating to work on that'll also give you exposure to neat new stuff. So
all right.
Ready?
That's it. till next week, I guess. Thank
Later,
you very
all.
much, everyone.
Guys, don't rock that dinghy when you go on the water.
You got to go straight and fast.
We're just trying to figure out how all 6 of us are going to get in.
Like,
Yeah,
four
it's gonna be
seater.
the picture for the.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you can always leave somebody to push the dinghy. So
No, the word drag is going to.
Yeah,
That's right.
We need dragon. All right. All right.
And we'll move on.
All right. See you guys.